When did you start collecting video games and why? I mean, what was the initial impulse?
I'm not really sure when I started collecting in general, because I collected many things in my life, starting maybe with keychains and dice and jokers, stuff like that. Okay. Eventually it came down to video games. Okay. I was collecting Nintendo games and Sega Mega Drive games and PlayStation games. And it was actually a bit later on, and that's about 12 years ago, when I found my first big boxed PC game. That's when I fell in love with the big boxed PC games in general. So it was like 12 years ago on a Queen's Day market, which is in the Netherlands. We have Queen's Day once a year where we celebrate the birthday of the Queen. Yeah. It's a lot of partying in all of the Netherlands. But there's also flea markets, like in every city there's a flea market going on, and that's where I found my first big box PC game. Okay. That's how it all started, yeah, like a chain reaction, yeah.
Okay, but do you only collect video games, like all the video games, or do you specifically collect collectors or special editions, or both?
Well, the thing is, I do at the moment in this time period. A lot of PC games, they're generally sold in these DVD cases, and that's something I don't collect that much. But there are some special editions or collector's editions that come in big box, so that I do collect. But it's mostly from the year 2000 and before that every big box game was then sold in a big box, and that's mainly my focus there. Yeah. So mostly from that period.
Okay. So, what is the most significant piece of collectible you have or you are proud of?
That's many things, actually. I think when I go back to my childhood, there are a lot of games that I was very that I loved playing, like Commander Keen or Prince of Persia, or the first Duke Nukem game, and I think those are very hard to get in big box. The original packaging, like many people play them as a copy from maybe colleagues or from their dad, or I don't know. But getting the original big box version of that game is like very, almost like a quest. It's like very difficult. Yeah. But I have these games in my collection, and I'm very proud to have them and to show them to the public as well. Yeah.
Okay. What was the hardest game to get, and why?
Let's see, that's a tough question. It's mainly because many games are hard to get, and all for different reasons. So sometimes you just are looking for years on the internet, on eBay, and you just can't find it, and suddenly it pops up. Or sometimes you just come across something or maybe a second-hand shop, or someone suddenly donates you a game that you were searching for years. So all the cases has happened to me. I think some games, like for example, I was for a very long time searching for the Jazz Jackrabbit Christmas Chronicles big box. Not sure if you know Jazz Jackrabbit, and it's one of my favorite games. I have a huge Jazz Jackrabbit collection, and this box is I think the hardest box to get in the Jazz Jackrabbit area. So I was searching for years and I couldn't find it, and then suddenly I found someone who had the box, and he said, "Oh yeah, I have this box in my collection. Yeah, no problem, you can have it. It's I donate it to you." So it's really cool. But he said that, and I was like, "Oh yeah, we should keep in contact." And then I lost the contact. Oh. So I was like, "Oh man, who was this guy? I can't find him anymore." And so it was, I think, for maybe 2 or 3 years that I was unable to contact this guy. And then after a lot of searching and a lot of backtracking as well, I found his contact again. And he actually, it feels a bit double, but he didn't have that game double anymore. He just had his own copy. but he was willing to give his own copy to me, so I was very grateful for that. So that was really nice to find. Maybe another rare game, some games that I've searched for many years, like also Komanda A was a game that I really wanted in my collection, and Prince of Persia. Yeah. You just have to be lucky and come across them occasionally, and then also for the right price, because sometimes a lot of times people ask ridiculous pricings for them. Yeah. Okay. So, but eventually I found them, and I'm very happy with that. Yeah.
And when you are searching for the games, do you search, or do you want to get some game because you like the game itself, like you like the gameplay, you like the characters, or or do you search for it because it has a very unique box or packaging?
I think both. Like there are many reasons to search for a game. Sometimes it's just nostalgic memories that you have with the game. Sometimes it's some boxes are really beautiful. I'm having a box here. Okay. It's I can show it. This one, the 11th Hour. From the outside it looks like a normal box, but when we open it up, it is actually sort of, they call it the clockwork box. Okay. And that's, you see a sort of clock here, and you see an arm, like one of the pointers of the clock. And when you move this piece, it sort of folds open on both sides, and you see the arm going up, and that's nice. How the box opens. And then in here you have like the jewel case with the game in it. So this is such a beautiful packaging, and you don't see those packagings nowadays, actually. But it was a collector's edition, or this is a collector's edition? Oh, this is a collector's edition. This is not the normal box. I don't really. Sometimes there is like a backstory. I don't know the backstory of this clockwork edition. It could also be like that it was first released like this, and later in the normal box. So I don't know the background details, but I could figure it out in time. But so for this case it was the box. For other games it's more like nostalgic reasons. Sometimes the box art. Sometimes box art has a story behind it. Yeah. Like for example, Lara Bow and the Dagger of Amon-Ra. Yeah. It has really magnificent box art. And it was like it was inspired by the art of Joseph Leyendecker, and he made really beautiful art pieces back in the day, and you can really see the resemblance in the artwork of Joseph and then the cover art. It's like almost the same. You could really see that it was inspired by that, and also the main character as well. Okay. So how many games have you collected by now? I'm still busy with the official world record attempt. I'm still busy with that, so I'm not going away to give away the exact number. But I can say that it's over 1,800 box PC games. 1,800, and it actually may sound like not that much, but if you put it like all together in cabinets, it's like 36 cabinets in a row at the moment, and that's how it's displayed at the moment. And I could add like 10 cabinets to the collection as well, so it will be like 46 cabinets filled with games. Yeah. Okay, but it's mostly the PC, yes? And it's all PC. Yeah. Yeah. So no Commodore 64, no Amiga, no Mac, no etc. Okay. And all in big box. Okay. There's maybe a tricky question, but sometimes everyone wonders about it. Can you make money off your collection, or of your collecting habit? Is there a way, or is there opportunities? Like turning this collecting into like sort of something to get money from? Yeah. I'm not sure actually. At the moment, I don't. I have an exhibition, but I don't get money for this exhibition. I'm just happy to be able to put it out there. So, and that's really my dream, to share it with the gamers, and to share it with the world. Because before I had it in storage and it was just collecting dust, and it was really cool to look at it and to collect it, but I wanted to share this with the people. That's always have been my dream. But making money out of it, it's difficult, I guess. Maybe in the future I will find a way to make that happen or make it possible. Maybe because I'm mainly focusing. I was mainly focusing on collecting, but if you change the collecting word maybe in archiving, then maybe some possibilities pop up. And so it's an ongoing process, I think.
Okay, but this exhibition you mentioned, it's only in your home country, yes?
Yes, it's in Zwolle in the Netherlands.
Okay.
It's a city where they have the Games and Computers Museum. And it has like the entire timeline of the computer and on consoles as well.
Yeah.
And as a part of that museum, there's an exhibition of my collection set up there. Yeah. Okay.
But do you have yourself a YouTube channel or something where you just show it to a wider population?
I don't have. Yeah, I do have a YouTube channel, but I'm not really putting out that much review works. I do have a website. It's the pcking.nl, but the PC and then dash king.
Dash, okay.
Yeah, like a middle dash, not the lower dash.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. And where is the whole collection?
There you can find the whole panorama picture, and you can zoom in, so you can see every title on there. And it's you should really do that. It's amazing to see that.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
So another question, like collection editions or like edition like you have now and then. How did it change quality-wise and price-wise? Because the reason for this question is like recently there was a Red Dead Redemption, probably you know, and there's a collector's edition that comes without a game. You buy just a collector's box with lots of things, but we discussed here in our country that it's maybe not so worth it, like to buy this collector's box without a game even. And the quality is not very good.
True. Well, it's for me it feels like like in the year 2000 and before, like it feels like every game was a collector's edition to me. There are of course collector's editions back then as well, and those are boxes that are a bit prettier, or like this box for example. And also you have Day of the Tentacle with the triangle box, which was like a special boxed edition for the talkie version. I don't know how to answer this question. It's mostly that I do buy them because they're boxed, and the game, there's no game in there, but you have a key maybe to the game. But if it's only like a figurine or like merchandise, then it wouldn't count for my collection. But I just see even collector's editions nowadays, I see that as an addition to my collection. And I would think of them as the same as games from back then. Although it's missing the nostalgic part of it. The boxes can be really beautiful, and I think that's really cool for a collector's edition to show that to the public as well. And maybe also connect to a younger audience maybe. Okay. But for the old games, my passion goes there a bit more. And I think price-wise, I think it is kind of the same maybe. Well, in the beginning, when I started collecting, people were just selling these big box PC games for almost nothing. It's like €1 each well, I wasn't active on eBay back then. It was like a website in the Netherlands called Marktplaats. Okay. So I bought every game I saw on there, and was growing very quickly back then. But now, people are asking ridiculous pricings for it, and it's really hard to find games. And when you do find them, they're usually for quite a lot more than back in the day. And collector's editions, sometimes they just bring out a couple of them, and sometimes there are too many of them. So you never know what's going to happen there. So you sort of have to go on to your gut feel and see, all right, this is a collection edition that I really want. So sometimes you go for it. Sometimes you wait a few years, maybe even, and then you could find it for maybe €20 or so.
But you wouldn't say that back then the quality of the collector's editions was a little bit better, like than nowadays.
Yeah, well, I'm not very. I'm not sure actually. I think that the boxes maybe yes. So the design of the boxes themselves, and the goodies, the feelies, so as we call them. There are also feelies that are a bit more unique, maybe a bit more out of the box, a bit more surprising. Nowadays, it's usually a figurine or a mouse mat or a map, those kind of things, and those are actually very common in collector's editions. But sometimes you have collector's editions that are very original as well, also nowadays. So I think they're, you still have them. You have to look for them, and it will continue like that, I think. So sometimes you have something really unique popping up, and you could go for it.
Okay. So a few more questions, and
of course.
And another one is like, I saw that, for example, the new Tomb Raider, the Shadow of Tomb Raider. Game, and it had also collector's edition, but in our country where we couldn't buy it, we only could buy a gold edition. But it's not the biggest. And we didn't even have a chance to buy it. It was like announced, and it was over like in I don't know, a few days.
Really?
Like the biggest collector's edition. So what do you do in cases like that? Like someone announces it, you don't have a possibility to order, and then.
Well, it actually happens a lot to me, especially with games coming out nowadays. And I'm actually sort of okay with it. It's more because my focus is more in the past. So I keep searching for those missing games from the past, and occasionally when newer games come on my path, then I would buy them if I can. But there are some games that I missed out on that I'm it's pretty sad that I miss out on them. So I would. If it would be possible to go back in time, then it might be a good idea for me for some cases.
Okay. And how do you see on the video games and video games packaging? Like now we live in a world where almost more than half sales are digital. Like people saying that they sell more games digitally than physically.
True.
So in some cases it might seem that we're nearing the end of physical copies. So how do you think it will be in the future? Will we go fully digital, or we will still have that physical feel and collector's editions?
Well, it's always difficult to tell. I think we will go fully digital. I definitely think so. I do think there will be always merchandise like these figurines and stuff that people can collect, and maybe those will be the collectible things then. But it's so much easier to bring out a game digitally, and especially with everything is growing, like the capacity of these mediums are growing very well. So maybe in the future you have like whole game libraries just in a drop of DNA of things that I've read. So I don't know. The future it's going so fast. So I definitely think that it's going that way. And I think for me as a collector, the way I see it, I'm just very lucky to live in this period of time. And I could focus on the things that I love and that I'm passionate about. But I do think that other collectors maybe in the future can be passionate about different things that are coming up then. So time changes and you have to sort of change with it. So I'm okay with it. No problem there.
Okay.
So
thank you very much.
No problem at all. Thank you.